James Gunn recalled watching a dating show where a man mentioned looking up how to sit like a cool guy on the internet, demonstrating a particular pose he referred to as the cool guy sit. Gunn decided to try the pose out himself. He frequently worked with the same group of people who understood each other's needs, quirks, and weaknesses, creating a familial atmosphere on set. This sense of family helped transform the challenging task of shooting a film into a complicated but enjoyable process. Throughout his career, Gunn frequently employed drawings as a means to visualize scenes and shots. He described a scene involving Superman and Lex Luthor, referencing Justice Gang, and mentioned using video footage as a communication tool among his actors and crew. Gunn also reflected on how he was drawn to Superman as a child, particularly the Superman family comics, which featured Superman, Supergirl, Krypto, and others. He was a fan of the Donner Superman film, which profoundly influenced him during a formative period when films became a significant part of his life. Despite some difficulties connecting with the character of Superman due to his immense power, Gunn found inspiration in Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman, which gave the hero a relatable personality, a good-natured, determined figure, always striving to do the right thing. This persona became the foundation for the Superman character in Gunn's project. James Gunn's set included a dog that did not want to be filmed. David Corenswet, who wore the Superman suit, recounted the extensive design process behind the costume, explaining that initially, the suit came in two pieces with imperfections such as an incorrectly attached emblem and an unusable cape. With subsequent fittings, the suit began to take shape, aiming to present Superman as approachable and huggable, a contrast to Batman's menacing persona. Judiana Makovsky, involved in costume design, worked on finding the right glasses for Clark Kent, experimenting with various styles to find a look that subtly altered the actor's face without resorting to stereotypical comic book or hipster aesthetics. Actress Rachel Brosnahan shared that the character of Lois Lane evolved significantly over the years, reflecting the times and embodying a spunky, modern journalist persona. She recounted the glamour of receiving the role notification while in a public bathroom and noted the importance of the screen test scene in establishing the movie's character-driven heart. Gunn emphasized the desire to introduce color and a classic style to science fiction movies, breaking away from decades of dark-toned films. Inspired by Frank Quitely's All-Star Superman artwork, the color palette for the Superman suit featured blues, reds, oranges, and greens, with a slightly lighter and sometimes turquoise tint rather than a royal blue. Gunn insisted on the suit feeling like a real uniform rather than a sculpted fake body, with particular attention to the emblem's design, which was provided by DC Comics and remained consistent with slight adjustments throughout production. A notable discussion among the team surrounded whether Superman's iconic red trunks would be included. While it was challenging to make them work visually, their presence affirmed the character's identity. David Corenswet strongly supported retaining the trunks to evoke the classic Superman image. Gunn was deeply involved in innovating stunts, fight choreography, and flying sequences that audiences had not seen before, dedicating considerable effort to ensure readiness for filming. The presence of the dog, Greta, added a lighthearted touch on set, including its fashionable outfits. Henry Breharn explained the use of drones to capture Superman's superhuman flight sequences, enabling maneuvers beyond a fighter jet's capabilities. Drones proved essential both on location and on the soundstage. Peter Safran, who had long dreamed of producing a Superman movie since seeing the Dick Donner film at the age of 13, shared the emotional impact of hearing the script aloud at the table read. In contrast, James Gunn initially was uncertain about directing a Superman film, but acknowledged that Safran's persistent encouragement played a crucial role in his involvement. The team prepared to travel to Svalbard, Norway, with Gunn noting the challenges and atmosphere of the location. Nicholas Hoult remarked on the excitement of visiting such an extraordinary place for work, which he might not have otherwise visited. This narrated account reveals the passion, preparation, and collaborative spirit behind the making of the Superman project, emphasizing the care taken in storytelling, character development, costume design, and innovative filmmaking techniques. The nature and landscapes offered an immersive experience, but even more impressive was the work of Beth, the production designer, who built an intricate set for the interior of the Fortress of Solitude. Walking onto these sets instantly brought a smile to one's face. Beth explained that there was an opportunity to create something sculptural, monolithic, and unique, a large, soaring structure with sweeping shapes that arch over visitors. The design evoked the atmosphere of a cathedral, conveying a sense of grandeur. The skilled sculptors carved imperfections into the set, such as chipping and scraping, then made molds from these carvings. Resin was poured into the molds to create halves of crystals, which were then seamed together. After 8 weeks of creating the initial piece, the team faced the challenge of producing over 200 more within 4 to 6 weeks. Svalbard, an island located above Norway under Norwegian governance in the Arctic, was chosen as a filming location. It is a cold place inhabited by approximately 1,500 people and 3,000 polar bears. The crew wanted to shoot on a glacier in this remote Arctic environment to capture a unique setting for the film. The location represented the first feature film visuals from the new DC universe. Recalling childhood experiences, one member likened the environment and snow to memories from Missouri, including the presence of reindeer. The director James Gunn shared how the film's beginning was inspired by his personal experience with his dog Wesley. After losing Wesley, he wasn't ready to get another dog until an encounter with a rescue operation brought a skinny dog with one ear sticking up to his attention. Despite the dog's mischievous behavior tearing furniture, eating a laptop, biting feet, the idea of this chaotic dog having superpowers seeded the film's storyline. Gunn humorously described the dog's antics and control challenges, imagining the trouble it would cause if it had superpowers. On the official first day of shooting, the environment was described as gorgeous and defining for the Fortress of Solitude. The production team created an Arctic look on a backlot at Trilith Studios in Atlanta, with Beth Mickey crafting foam snow to mimic the icy setting. The opening scene featured a damaged Superman lying on the ground, whistling a surprising and untraditional introduction to the character. This portrayal of Superman was raw and vulnerable, a departure from the usual heroic image. The Fortress of Solitude set included a major set piece, Superman's supercomputer. The design was inspired by Kryptonian technology with retro-futuristic shapes from the Silver Age of comic books. Large circular and spherical shapes created a whimsical look characteristic of that era. Crystals embedded in the computer served as data programming elements. Experimentation with lighting the crystals showed exciting visual effects as light traveled through the beams. Another detail was a robot charging station capable of housing 16 robots, anticipating an active role for robots in the storyline. The film featured Krypto, the superdog, who played a key role in a rescue sequence early in the story. Krypto's presence added a fresh spin to the Superman film by introducing superpowered dogs that could fly and emit beams from their eyes. This world acknowledged the existence of metahumans, with Superman being the greatest among them, although the story revealed a time before he fully reached that stature. Scenes were shot in an apartment set as Lois Lane's in Atlanta, focusing on key moments between Clark and Lois. The character of Superman was described as someone who believes in the inherent goodness of people and is curious about humanity. He seeks to honor his human parents, Ma and Pa Kent, embodying both invincibility and a search for his own humanity. The portrayal aimed to bring a sincere human element to the superhero mythos. Rachel Brosnahan, part of the cast, reflected on the significance of Lois Lane, recalling the influence of Margot Kidder's portrayal in the Christopher Reeve Superman films. She recognized the challenge and pressure of taking on such an iconic role, but expressed confidence in the team's dedication to bringing new life to these beloved characters. Throughout the filming process, the cast and crew experienced the cold environment and embraced the excitement of the project. The first day featured rehearsals and shots that captured dramatic elements, punctuated by the challenges of weather and setting. The crew demonstrated enthusiasm and teamwork, supporting one another through the demanding shoot. Overall, the production combined innovative set design, unique location choices, personal inspirations, and dedicated performances to create a fresh and heartfelt take on the Superman story within the DC universe. The blend of artistic vision and technical craftsmanship was evident in every aspect of the filmmaking process. The director highly valued the dialogue scene. It was noted as unusual to have a 10-page talking scene in a spectacle film, yet this one was integral. Despite the film's epic scale, the process of making it was intentionally kept intimate and efficient, with the majority of the shots being shot largely handheld. The audition scene in question was crucial as it decided the actors' roles, highlighting their chemistry and performance. The screening tested various actors for the roles of Lois Lane and Superman, with the primary goal of finding the right actors not only individually, but also as a pair to ensure strong chemistry. The director emphasized the ease and camaraderie between the actors playing Lois and Clark, describing their off-camera relationship as reminiscent of summer camp. The emotional spectrum of the characters was well captured, ranging from passion and anger to moments of reconciliation, which added authenticity to the portrayal of the relationships. The Clark and Lois apartment scene stood out as a favorite. The camera work was intentionally close and connected to the characters, a rarity for this genre. It allowed insight into their personalities and how they loved and struggled with each other. The dialogue included playful and vulnerable moments, showcasing the actor's ability to transition seamlessly between humor and seriousness. This particular scene evoked the seminal moment Christopher Reeve had in the original Superman film, where he transformed from Clark Kent to Superman in one shot, a moment that reflected both vulnerability and strength. The current film aimed to explore the character's alterations with a fresh approach, focusing on Clark's human relationships rather than just his superhero persona. The theme of Clark's alter ego as an expression of his love for humanity was explored in depth. It was explained that Superman was not a character played by Clark, but a version of himself embodying what he believed he should be. This duality highlighted the complexities of balancing superhuman responsibilities with everyday human experiences. Lois Lane's character brought a contrasting, more cynical perspective about doing good and the consequences of stopping wars. This contrast between Lois's pragmatism and Clark's idealism created tension and depth in the story, raising questions about the motivations and broader impact of the choices made by those with power. The chemistry and dynamic between the characters were core to the narrative, with moments of tenderness, disagreement, and reconciliation. The actors' performances enabled the audience to see them as real people, beyond their heroic facades, and portrayed the nuances of love, conflict, and shared ideals of truth and justice. Behind the scenes, the set was described as having a positive atmosphere filled with love, hope, and respect, fostered by the director's zero-tolerance policy for negativity. The collaboration among the cast and crew was characterized as enthusiastic and supportive, enhancing the film's intimate and grounded feel despite its fantastical elements. The story intertwined spectacular fantasy elements such as flying dogs, giant kaiju, and robots with grounded, emotional character moments. At its heart, it focused on Clark's personal journey, particularly his conversations with his father, whose quiet affection carried significant weight. This relationship added a layer of emotional depth, portraying Clark's internal conflict and vulnerability. Clark's revelation that he might have been sent to Earth for reasons darker than initially believed challenged his confidence and sense of identity. This internal struggle was a pivotal part of the storyline, illustrating his journey from doubt to reaffirmed purpose based on solid personal convictions. Overall, the movie was about Clark's transformation, facing harsh truths, and ultimately making choices that defined his character. The narrative emphasized that his actions and decisions, rather than his origins or powers alone, were what truly made him who he was. This exploration of identity, morality, and human connection formed the emotional core of the film. The crew has been together for a long time, creating a happy and creative atmosphere that one member wishes to spend the rest of his career with. This environment feels like the natural way things should be. An actor shared the story of reaching out directly to the director to express interest in playing Superman, initially just wanting to try on the suit like any kid dreaming of the role. Despite feeling he did poorly during his screen test, months later, he was offered the chance to portray Lex Luthor instead. He vividly recalled cackling with delight upon hearing the offer. Upon reading the script, he sensed that playing Lex might be both more enjoyable and fitting. Lex Luthor is portrayed as a character who, despite appearing evil, deeply cares for humanity and believes himself uniquely capable of protecting people from the dangers posed by an omnipotent alien arriving on Earth. He attempts to lull humanity into complacency to dominate without resistance. The director emphasized that Lex does not see himself as a villain. If not for his violent actions, many might sympathize with him. Lex is described as highly intelligent, feeling overshadowed by the alien who is beloved by Metropolis. His reasoning behind his extreme actions, though terrible, holds a certain logic. The film's Metropolis is actually Cleveland, the birthplace of Superman, created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster as teenagers. Family members of the creators expressed pride in preserving the truth of Superman's origins and joy in seeing the character portrayed in the film. The filming took place in Cleveland's Arcade, the oldest mall in America, where the iconic kiss between Superman and Lois occurs, highlighting the story's core as a love story. During the shoot, the director shared a personal element, Wesley Von Spear's chocolates, named after his beloved dog, who was with him for 17 years. The chocolates evoke melancholy, but are cherished on set. The climax was filmed in the communications hub, where Superman and Lex confront each other. The actor playing Superman described preparing for a poignant speech about humanity, influenced by advice from his on-screen father figure on identity and actions that define a person. The scene involved complex blocking, including the timing of Krypto's tackle. The director praised the actor's delivery of the speech, noting the emotional intensity improved with each take. However, during one take, the actor struggled with the emotional demands, questioning the portrayal of his character's vulnerability. The director emphasized that the speech was about acknowledging human weakness and hurt feelings, making it clear that it is acceptable to feel that way, contrasting with Lex's harsh judgments. The actor expressed frustration, feeling that the message was supposed to make the character immune to pain, yet he still felt vulnerable and unsure. The dialogue between the actor and director became intense as they worked through these difficulties. The director explained that vulnerability is the essence of being human. Feelings are neither right nor wrong. The character had to show that, despite hurt feelings, vulnerability was a source of strength when facing Lex. This moment became a defining part of the film, illustrating the nuanced interplay between strength and vulnerability in the Superman character. The conversation began with an expression of approval, followed by the mention of the name Superman. The sentence James had said was recalled as perfectly clarifying what the character was doing in that moment and what should be done in that moment. The memory included the action of hitting his chest, symbolizing a feeling and action alignment. The scene was performed exactly as intended. The filming of a scene proceeded with a declaration against an alien, refuting the alien's outsider status by expressing that he was as human as anyone else. He described morning routines of waking up without clear direction, putting one foot in front of the other, and trying to make the best choices possible. The alien confessed that being told he did not belong hurt his feelings, and claimed that this vulnerability was what made him human and was his greatest strength. The scene ended with a cut, followed by applause and approval. The emotional impact of the movie was discussed, emphasizing that the story was about Superman's innate goodness and humanity despite being an alien. It was highlighted that the character's optimism and vulnerability were crucial. Credit was given to James for the key sentence and for the patience and conversation that led to it, noting that the director had made it a challenging process. It was stated that there was no anger or ego in the character, just a desire to improve the story. A message was shared from David, calling that filming day his favorite with the director, a sentiment that was mutual. The cultural impact of movies was reflected upon, with hope expressed that Superman could make a significant difference in the world even decades from now. The crowd's enthusiastic chanting of the names David and Superman followed. Thanks were given to everyone involved, acknowledging the deep meaning the movie would have for many people over the years. The months of shared work and moments were cherished, highlighting the commitment and excitement brought to the project. The filmmaking experience was described as a great adventure with an amazing group of people. The movie was intended to portray a good man in a world that isn't always good. The collective hearts and souls poured into the work, with deep gratitude expressed to the entire crew. The camaraderie and characters were celebrated, and there was a bittersweet moment of taking the cape off one last time. The journey was described as unforgettable, with an optimistic farewell until the next project. Light-hearted moments followed, marked by laughter, giggles, and playful accents, including a humorous attempt at a bad accent and references to fictitious cultures and choices. The atmosphere was relaxed, with humorous exchanges about being a human QR code and the dreamlike quality of the experience. Reflecting privately on a scene, there was mention of an inspirational sticker as a personal motivator. The fun atmosphere continued with expressions of accomplishment and affection among colleagues, marking the end of the shared experience with warmth and camaraderie. The apology was expressed for a minor interruption. There was a discussion about the strong desire among people to see more of the Daily Planet. The Daily Planet set was introduced as a favorite and impressive location, described as a kingdom that felt real. The past few days on set were marked by happiness, thanks to an exceptional crew and talented actors. The small crew of the Daily Planet was described as having a blast, enjoying the excitement of being part of such an iconic story. A sense of camaraderie was highlighted, cultivated by James in his movies, which gave the experience a summer camp feel. The joy of having the cast together was palpable, with energetic movement on set. It was explained that the setting depicts DC as Center City, Gotham, and Metropolis, distinct from New York and Los Angeles. The goal was to create the incredible Daily Planet building using practical locations. Ian Easterbrook, the location manager, sourced a beautiful train station in Macon after failing to find anything suitable in Atlanta. The space was massive, with phenomenal classical architecture and materials that made it feel timeless. From early on, the movie aimed for a timeless feel with a blurred period, allowing the team to own the space for about a month to dress, shoot, and eventually strike the set. The newsroom spanned about 200 feet from entrance to exit, providing ample space for a realistic number of people. The set featured an original old-fashioned telephone booth as a nod to Clark Kent's transformation into Superman. A false rooftop was built to conceal certain scenes, as the shoot took place on the ground floor. The set was praised for its amazing details, including remarkably designed bathrooms that could serve as a movie location themselves. One actor took a moment to sit in Clark Kent's chair and admire the set, noting the corkboard filled with tiny Easter eggs referencing older movies and comics. The family connection to Superman creator Jerry Siegel and Lois Lane's model, Joanne, added to the passion for respecting the character's history. The dedication of many people who cared deeply about the set infused the movie with spirit. Characters such as Perry, Cat Grant, and Steve Lombard were introduced with excitement about bringing to life characters long cherished from childhood readings. The cast was praised for their fantastic performances, making the experience of embodying these roles enjoyable. Ron Troop was described as one of the best editors, although still working on the national desk, with the potential to become an editor in the future. Steve Lombard was noted for friendly humor, and the affection for cats was mentioned in relation to a character named Persephone. The cast included Jimmy Olsen, with Skyler surpassing expectations for the role. The space where magic happened was highlighted, with a notable emphasis on the friendly tone of the characters. Lois Lane was characterized as always moving forward. Clark Kent's space revealed a good chemistry between David and Rachel, with Clark's playful manner of tossing things around being part of his persona. His serious commitment to good journalism was also noted. Perry White had his own office, and Wendell, an actor admired since his role in The Wire, was among the cast, bringing a sense of excitement and pride to the set. The work was regarded as a high point in the artist's career and a thrilling experience for fans. The Daily Planet was firmly established as the boss's domain, with respect shown to leadership. Friendly teasing about appearances and mustaches added to the camaraderie. The core staff, including Grant and Troop, were emphasized as characters people love, with anticipation of showcasing more of them. Bringing these beloved characters to life with real humans was described as an amazing and fulfilling process. The idea behind launching the new DC Universe was to create a larger story, starting with the original superhero, which felt like the right approach. However, what was truly needed were compelling villains. The story unfolds by presenting a path with various shades and nuances, allowing audiences to grasp the complexity of truly villainous characters. Lex Luthor was chosen as the primary villain, a character deeply admired despite his role. The actor portraying Lex Luthor for the new generation brought a likable demeanor in contrast to the character's personality, one that combined the traits of a grade school bully with those of the world's smartest man, both egocentric and insecure. Playing a villain involved making subtle mental shifts to understand the character's motivations, revealing that Lex's actions, though harsh, could evoke some sympathy. His motives were not simply malevolent, as often depicted. Instead, there was a reasoned rationale behind his view that Superman posed a threat. Despite his misguided methods, Lex genuinely believed he was acting in humanity's best interest. The story drew inspiration from moments in the comics, such as one where Clark visits Lex, highlighting their contrasting qualities. While Superman possessed extraordinary gifts, Lex relied on his drive, intelligence, and hard work. Lex spent his life creating technology for both humanity and personal gain, but by the time Superman arrived, he struggled with feelings of inferiority. Though unable to match Superman physically, he outmaneuvered him using intellect and manipulation. Lex's villainy extended to capturing Metamorpho, forcing him to harbor kryptonite to harm Superman. These captives resided in a kind of zoo, housing people Lex despised. With Superman as the ultimate obstacle, Metamorpho found himself in a compromised position, coerced through the safety of his child, Joey. Another significant character is the Engineer, drawn from the series The Authority. Before becoming the Engineer, she was a formidable former Special Ops soldier, far more capable than most people. After transforming into the Engineer, she became nearly indestructible, her body composed of nanites that could morph into anything she imagined. She was extremely powerful and held by Lex for a specific purpose. In a notable action scene at the Fortress of Solitude, she effortlessly defeated robots by turning her hands into buzzsaws, showcasing intense stunt work. Angela has a complicated relationship with Lex Luthor that goes beyond platonic. While Lex's official girlfriend was known, Lex and Angela shared private moments marked by a power dynamic they both enjoyed. Their connection and intimacy were rooted in mutual respect for their influence and abilities. Angela harbored deeper feelings for Lex, which he reciprocated, reflecting his charm with women. Lex, known as a ladies' man, despised pettiness, such as troublesome ex-girlfriends. His motto, brains beat brawn, captured his reliance on intelligence over physicality, a line he spontaneously delivered during filming, not originally in the script. Playing the villain offered a fun and dynamic experience. While Lex Luthor sought to elicit audience dislike, there was a deliberate effort to subvert that, inviting viewers to understand and even empathize with him to some degree, thereby making the character more memorable and relatable. The film is not described as a typical kaiju fight, but as a portrayal of how heroes in the DC Universe, DCU, differ from one another. The Justice Gang is depicted as a ruthless, somewhat ragtag group lacking clear leadership, although one character, Guy Gardner, considers himself the leader, despite others not fully respecting that claim. James is known to be afraid of heights, and due to this, he is often placed in high places, which adds a playful challenge. The introduction of the Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, is highlighted with a humorous take on his distinctive appearance, including a notably silly haircut. Guy Gardner is characterized as having a sore spot for anyone who thinks they might be better than him, and while he can be a jerk, he remains a favorite character, especially in the Justice League International stories. Nathan Fillion's casting as Guy Gardner is praised, with James having previously cast him partly to emphasize the character's silly bowl-cut hairstyle. The styling process involved creating a wig that captured the right look with minimal product, ensuring it moved naturally. The final hairstyle is a blend between a semi-mullet and a bowl cut, striking a balance that is both cool and fitting for the character. The depiction of Hawkgirl emphasizes her wings made of nth metal and her alien origins. The costume designer Judiana and her team created a suit that blends practicality with aesthetic appeal, including a helmet that made perfect sense immediately. Hawkgirl is described as a tough character who leads with anger and a war cry mentality, equipped with the ability to fly fast and wield an unforgiving mace. Her execution of a world leader is noted as potentially controversial, with consequences beyond the film. Mr. Terrific is introduced as a surprising addition to the Superman movie, bringing an extraordinary presence. Known for his genius-level intellect and gadgets, Mr. Terrific is serious about everything, but contains whimsical elements, especially with his T-shaped mask, which blends subtly into his makeup. The actor feels empowered in the costume, evoking a strong sense of being able to save the world. Metamorpho's character is presented as a mystery, with much left to the imagination. His storyline involves being tortured by seeing his baby, Joey, and feeling powerless as Lex Luthor uses his son to manipulate him. He must become part kryptonite to hurt Superman. Metamorpho struggles with his appearance, a theme that resonates with the actor, who shares a personal connection through his own experience with alopecia. The character embodies a dichotomy of immense power, combined with emotional pain, reflecting a core element of the film's themes. The costume design, incorporating legacy elements of practicality, was carefully crafted to enhance the character without relying heavily on visual effects, delivering magic when the costume is worn. The prosthetic makeup techniques used in the film are traditional foam rubber-based, highlighting the artistry behind the character's visual transformation. Overall, the film balances characters with distinct and complex traits, each contributing to Superman's singular story while forming a unique team known as the Justice Gang. This group expresses the values that Superman aims to convey in the movie, mixing elements of familiar and new storytelling dynamics within the DC universe. The Justice Gang, including characters like Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific, and Metamorpho, embodies a diverse and multifaceted approach to superhero narratives. The scene opens with distant sounds and a whistle. The narrator expresses a fondness for dogs, especially Krypto, the superdog. The concept of Krypto coming to Superman's rescue adds a unique twist to the Superman movie. Krypto, despite being unruly and tearing apart the Fortress of Solitude, is ultimately a good boy. The storyteller shares a personal account of losing a dog named Wesley while making Suicide Squad. After some years, a rescue operation led to the adoption of a scared, skinny dog with one ear standing up. This dog was brought home but caused chaotic destruction, tearing up furniture and constantly attacking feet. The dog's behavior was wild, alternating between staying close and acting aggressively. The idea emerged that it would be troubling if such a dog had superpowers. Throughout the process, Krypto draws heavy inspiration from a real dog named Ozu, who is funny and a bit crazy. The filmmakers gathered many videos of Ozu's antics, nibbling on feet, spinning in circles, jumping around, and shared this footage with the animators at Framestore. Although Krypto is portrayed as a much larger dog, his design and behavior are based on Ozu's anatomy and personality, adjusted in size and fur color to suit his appearance. On set, actors interacted with a live dog to provide realistic eye lines and physical interaction. The dog often displayed playful and chaotic behavior, which helped bring authenticity to the scenes. One dog named Murphy was energetic and sometimes difficult to control, contributing to a lively atmosphere among the cast. The production team sought a performer who could embody the free and uninhibited nature of a dog, unafraid to be silly or disruptive. The live dogs helped the actors connect emotionally, offering a tangible presence to respond to during filming. Jolene, another real dog on set, played Krypto's mean twin. She was well-behaved and especially good at holding snacks, exhibiting a personality close to Krypto's character. Jolene also served as a lighting reference to ensure the digital model of Krypto matched the on-set lighting conditions. The digital character of Krypto required extensive hand animation by talented artists who worked to capture subtle expressions with great fidelity. Despite being computer-generated, the character's creation was a deeply human process involving a team dedicated to bringing reality to a digital canine. The narrator reflects on feeling fortunate to be part of the project, marveling daily at the complexity and excitement of the work. The final moments include affectionate praise for Ozu, acknowledging his important role in inspiring the character of Krypto. The scene opened with a thrilling return. A potent combination of Ultraman and Lex Luthor was introduced, setting the tone for what was to come. Ultraman, described in the comics as part of a crime syndicate comprising evil versions of the Justice League, stood as the dark counterpart of Superman. The film's Ultraman, however, had a unique origin, created by Lex Luthor. The narrative plunged viewers into an intense world at breakneck speed, immersing them immediately in a massive action sequence featuring the Hammer of Baravia, who was later revealed to be Ultraman. At that moment, Superman was shown abandoned and on the verge of defeat. The story took an unexpected direction by presenting Superman struggling in battle, a scene unusual for the iconic hero. It was shown that Luthor controlled everything behind the scenes with mastery, his intelligence allowing him to anticipate every move. This intellect, combined with Ultraman's strength, made him a formidable adversary capable of overpowering Superman. The fight scenes demanded a suit that could endure Superman's power. The costume design evolved to reflect a knight in armor aesthetic, aiming to make Ultraman's figure appear large and imposing with exaggerated chest proportions. The pieces were meticulously 3D modeled and printed, resulting in a suit that looked heavy but still allowed the actor freedom of movement. Flexible urethane was incorporated for the gold and silver parts to maintain stunt friendliness and durability. Training focused heavily on wire work to enable flying and aerial combat, a new experience that was ultimately enjoyable. The rigging team, coordinators, and stunt performers played crucial roles as expert instructors. The choreography sought to introduce fresh, original combat sequences that felt authentic and messy, embracing imperfections to mirror real-life fights. The story's climax revealed Ultraman's origin as a clone of Superman, enabling shots that displayed both characters simultaneously. Achieving this effect involved complex techniques, such as split screens and face replacement, which required each role to be performed separately. Playing these two characters back-to-back was physically demanding, pushing the stamina limits of the actor and stunt double, who endured extensive physical challenges during long shooting days. Superman faced an equally strong, sometimes stronger opponent in Ultraman, with the added menace of Lex Luthor's criminal mastermind intellect guiding actions behind the scenes. Unlike many portrayals, Superman was shown not as invincible or planet-punching, but as powerful yet vulnerable to someone strong enough. The battle underscored the theme that the brain could triumph over brawn. Superman is regarded as greater than any single movie, comic, or actor. Actors find it hard to believe they embody such iconic characters as Lois Lane, Lex Luthor, and Superman. Superman is recognized as the first superhero and the origin of the genre. Superman symbolizes a feeling that someone is looking out for others. At its core, he embodies everything good and evokes a nostalgic sense of childhood for many. The inspiration drawn from DC Comics results in slight changes to these iconic characters, while retaining their essence. Superman's power contributes to his appeal, but his good-natured, pure-hearted personality, always doing the right thing, is equally important. He embodies a belief in the innate goodness of people, spreading hope, which is much needed. The role of Superman comes with a challenge, as he is seen as a Pollyanna figure in a world that increasingly isn't idyllic. The actor who plays Superman was advised to work on his shoulders and vulnerability. Wearing the iconic suit leaves a wordless awe. The director believes that the actor naturally embodies the character of Superman. Finding the right Lois Lane was equally crucial. The chemistry between the actors playing Lois Lane and Superman was a key factor in the casting decision. Their authentic interactions, whether through small gestures or shared moments, stand out as significant. Lois Lane is portrayed as a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, the real leader in the newsroom, relentless in her pursuit of truth and what matters to her. Her passion makes her aspirational and reflects the spunky, modern woman archetype that evolves with the times. The actress playing Lois shares a character who has undergone substantial changes in Superman's canon history. Both actress and director aim to honor all versions of Lois, while shaping this one to fit a contemporary ideal. The character is described as energetic, funny, fast-witted, and powerful. Her unique expressions and attentiveness in scenes demonstrate her strength and supportive nature. Lex Luthor is depicted with complexity. The actor brought prepared ideas to the role, but adapted to the director's vision. Lex does not see himself as a villain. His actions are driven by selfishness, envy, and jealousy, but also a genuine concern for the planet and Superman's role. Lex resents Superman's sudden authority over world affairs and desires to be in control instead. He is characterized as aggressive, bitter, and angry. The story presents a moral range with good guys, bad guys, and everything in between. Lex is bad but not the worst, while Superman is arguably the best. James Gunn recalled receiving a congratulatory message from Ryan Reynolds after joining DC Studios, with Reynolds expressing excitement and hope that Gunn would work on the Superman project. When Gunn asked if Reynolds was returning as Green Lantern, Reynolds replied with a rude dismissal. Jason Momoa had also expressed enthusiasm for the project with a shout of "Lobo!" Kyle Cornswet shared that they were creating something exciting worth the wait, introducing a new Superman and launching a new phase for the DC Universe, DCU. This new era carried a heavy responsibility. Nicholas Hoult remarked on the excitement surrounding James Gunn and Peter Safran taking over the DC world, emphasizing the high standards and readiness of the team to meet the challenge. The scene was notably cold as they embarked on launching the new era. There was some playful discussion about the team name, with the Justice Gang humorously dismissed as incorrect. A joke circulated about David being arrested for wearing clothes that were too tight. The focus was on starting strong with Superman, as he remains a pivotal figure for DC after a decade without a standalone film. James Gunn highlighted Superman as the original superhero and a core member of the Trinity alongside Batman and Wonder Woman. However, Superman had been less visible than the other two heroes recently. Peter Safran described the film as embodying the essential goodness of the human spirit, aiming to share optimism reminiscent of the 1978 Superman film. Gunn saw the opportunity to bring color and a nostalgic sci-fi aesthetic back to the movies, inspired by James's passion for these universes. The cast and crew admired James Gunn's deep care for the characters and his unique approach to navigating the DC world. His extensive knowledge and love of comic books were evident, as he had been an avid comic book drawer since childhood. As they progressed with the DC Studios initiative, the objective was to make a great film while setting the foundation for the larger DCU, with access to the vast library of characters providing creative freedom. Gunn demonstrated directing actions during filming, and Alex Gisondo praised his passion and knowledge, highlighting how the director respects and nurtures characters distinctly in the DC environment. James explained the cinematic approach as each film being like its own graphic novel, allowing filmmakers to bring individual sensibilities to the stories. Authenticity remained a key priority as Safran reiterated their commitment to honoring beloved characters and stories in the series. The creative process remained flexible, open to following unexpected but excellent ideas. The new Superman film, introduced by James Gunn, was envisioned as bright and colorful, leading with hope into a refreshed DC and Superman vision. Gunn described the DCU as a collective of diverse storytellers, each presenting valuable narratives through amazing collaboration. The filming process continued with repeated takes to ensure the best results. The character of Superman possesses an eternal quality, especially in musical terms. The new movie channels some of that classic feeling while also being distinctly a James Gunn film, bringing a fresh perspective. The opportunity to work on another film with James was compelling, but the fact that it centered on Superman made it even more significant, as nothing feels bigger than that character. James Gunn sent the script without any additional commentary. The script amazed the composer, sparking very creative discussions about what could be done musically as they explored ideas and possibilities. The composer had been a big fan of the Donner Superman film as a child, deeply impressed by its score, which influenced an early awareness of the importance of films. John Williams' score captured the inherent goodness, optimism, and thematic essence tied to the Superman character. The challenge was to find the perfect moments to honor something so precious in a respectful manner. During recording sessions, the composer often played guitar in downtime, experimenting with a dirty, fuzzy sound reminiscent of Hendrix's Star-Spangled Banner. This playful approach demonstrated the power of a great theme. It can carry weight and meaning on any instrument or style. A version of this guitar piece was sent to James Gunn and ended up featured in the film's trailer, serving as a reintroduction of the new Superman. The composer enjoyed creating unexpected musical moments, those that were not anticipated or traditional. One such opportunity was to musically depict the Fortress of Solitude, an environment characterized by ice, crystals, and a magical, otherworldly atmosphere. Inspired by a suggestion from the composer's wife, the cristal basque, a unique instrument made of crystal rods played by rubbing wet fingers across them, was introduced. The instrument produced sounds unlike anything else and was played beautifully by the composer's daughter. These sounds added a special touch to the movie. A sweeping orchestral score drew the audience into a grand adventure appropriate for Superman. The music maintained a noble and pure tone around the character, enveloping listeners and evoking all the beloved qualities traditionally associated with Superman and this genre of film. The presence of other characters, locations, and antagonists introduced elements that contrasted with Superman's purity, allowing for more experimental and personal musical expressions inspired by James Gunn's style. This included synth and harder-edged sounds for the villainous Lex, combined with choir and percussion layers. The soundtrack also featured a pocket universe concept, where the orchestra played around certain notes to create a sci-fi effect, blending into the world. Being part of this project was an honor, not only for the musical opportunity, but also as a longtime comic book fan with personal connections to the world of comics, partly through a father who shared the love for them. The composer believed this film embraced the true spirit of those comics and the essence of Superman's character. Superman represents hope. From his very first comic appearances, that theme has been remarkably consistent, which explains the character's enduring appeal over time. The music and story capture that timeless hopefulness perfectly.